Good evening. Welcome to Vibin with Ashley Live. I'm your host, Ashley Live, and thank you guys for joining us this evening. Episode 115 is tonight, and I have the incredible MattyDMusic joining me. He's a guitarist who's based in both New York and Miami, and at the age of 10 is when he picked up his first guitar, and he's been captivating audiences ever since. In July, Matty released his album, The Miami Soundtrack. Matty is in the room, and we're going to start this interview. Guys, hello. Hi, Matty.
Hey, Ashley.
Sorry. It's okay.
Can you see me okay?
Yes, I've seen enough of your videos to know when you have a guitar in your hands, you just become this force of life. Like you just become energetic and you're passionate. So I definitely was expecting that from you, and I expect a couple more like just random guitar like bouts. So I am so into this.
Sounds good. Yeah.
How's your night going?
Great, really good. Thank you for having me. I just got back home, so I'm all set up here with my lighting device.
Beautiful, beautiful. So let's just hop right into it. I want to start from the very beginning when music first came into your life. So what was your first memory with music?
Yeah, well, my dad was playing this song called Knocking on Heaven's Door by Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's just G, C, D. It was just knock, knock, knocking on heaven. So anyway, I had no formal training. I just learned like 2 or 3 guitar chords when I was 10.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very bored at home. I was obsessed with Michael Jackson at the time, and I would just kind of play those chords for months,
Yeah.
That's kind of how it started, 3 chords. Yeah.
Bring me back to Michael Jackson. Where does your obsession start with him? Because I was obsessed with Michael Jackson. I wanted to like marry him back in the day.
Yeah, when that History album came out in like the early 90s, it was like a transformative album. I got a little too into it when I was a kid. I did the dance moves.
Yeah.
My parents were a little worried about me, but
I love it.
But I love Michael Jackson though. But yeah, that was the History album time. That was like his zenith. So yeah.
Totally. So okay, 10 years old, you started playing these chords. What was it about guitar that kind of made you start playing the instrument?
Yeah, so it was a combination of again, that Bob Dylan song, my dad teaching me the 3 chords, and this might sound a little corny, but there was this song called Semi-Charmed Kind of Life by Third Eye Blind.
Yes.
And there was this like very cool metaphysical riff at the end where he was like I don't know if you could hear that.
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever that little riff was, that for some reason that just had like I became psychotic about learning how to play that song. Yeah. And serendipitously, it was that 3 chord thing that I learned with Bob Dylan. Totally. So I think I kind of lucked out with, falling in love with that song, which I still love to this day, but when I heard that song, I became so excited. I just became obsessed. It was just to amuse myself, really, not really to play for others. It was just amusing myself,
Totally. And I think that's so cool, the power of music, right? You think back to these days when you're young and you're like, oh my God, Michael Jackson, or oh, Third Eye Blind, and oh, that sounds really cool. And I love those kind of stories because now anytime you hear Semi-Charmed Kind of Life, it kind of brings you back to like when you were 10.
Yeah. It really does. Yeah. I mean, yeah. That was kind of when I began. That was like the genesis of me playing the guitar,
Mm-hmm.
So
how old were you when you first started writing and playing your own music?
Yeah, so I had no classical experience. I started when I was 10. I just messed around. I had like, in high school, I would play. I had a really good friend named John. Me and him used to play, John Boyd. We used to play together all the time.
Yeah.
But really, I had no classical experience. There were like, precocious violinists in my class. I was never really that much of a musical or a theater kid. I played a little in high school. I messed around in college, but it wasn't really till I got into the loop pedal, which I might have mentioned to you, that I started kind of like doing my own thing. You know what I mean? But yeah.
So the loop pedal, which was actually my next question, talk to us about the loop pedal and how that became a thing that was just, see Matty, you see the loop pedal.
Yeah, so my whole thing kind of was born, you know, in the wake of loop pedal technology. The loop pedal is a device that most musicians use just to kind of rehearse with.
Yeah.
Right? Like a lot of people do it. They throw down a couple chords and they practice their scales.
Mm-hmm.
So I would be like in, you know, weird cover bands where I was learning how to play like the Violent Femmes, and I was just like a guitar guy, and there'd be like a pretty lead singer and a drummer guy who I would always have issues with. And, you know, I was always kind of, you know, I was one out of four people. You never made that much money. But when I discovered the loop pedal, I got to give a shout out, actually. I don't even know if he's watching. He's not a big Instagram guy, but my buddy George Politis, you know, I had a job in finance, which I kind of just lost. Like I kind of, you know, essentially got fired is the harsh way of saying. I was downsized, and I ended up getting a job in finance in my mid to late 20s. And then this guy George, who lived up the street from me, he owned this Italian restaurant, and he gave me like my first gig just messing around with the loop pedal.
Yeah.
And, you know, he paid me like $100, and I just kind of, you know, I would just lay a couple chords down, and I would mess with the automated drums. And that was when, like, that was kind of when everything connected for me. You know, I was like, oh my God, I can do this by myself. I don't need to be in a weird cover band and, you know, be in Hoboken at 3 in the morning. I could do this all by myself. And that's kind of when I, you know, that was the great joy for me, was alone. Yeah.
So you were like, no, I can't do this weird band thing anymore. Let me just step out and do my own thing and take a little bit more control over my musical career. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, because a lot of guitar dudes, I think one of the issues they have is and a lot of musicians is they need somebody else to kind of validate their thing. You know what I mean? Like even a great singer who's beautiful and talented and great vocals, she kind of needs a guitar player to actualize her thing. So when I figured out the loop pedal, and that I could play the rhythm, the lead, and have drums and create this like fun atmosphere and energize people, you know, that was like a radical discovery. I was 27. So, you know, everyone's like, oh, when did you start playing? When you were 10? Like, yeah, 10, but, you know, I didn't really get it together until for like 15 years later, you know, kind of a bloomer. But anyway, that was when I discovered that I could do this by myself and I could make money and no other band member was going to get in my way, type of thing, you know?
Yeah, and I think it's crazy when you have these band members because there's like all these different personalities, and then someone's like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore, and you're kind of like trying to get 3 or 4 other people on the same page, and some of you are serious and some of you are not, and it's like, it's kind of like, it's difficult to be in a band.
Yeah, you don't make as much money. There's always competition, you know, like, yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So you spend your time between New York and Miami. Why both of these places? Are you just one of those people that like when it snows in New York, you're just like, let me go to Miami, or what's your situation with that?
Well, I know you're from Syracuse, right? So you know about, right? So basically once I got the loop pedal going, I would play gigs in Jersey, New York, whatever. Yeah. And then, like after Christmas, I would make a bunch of money playing Christmas gigs. And then January, February, March, April, I'd be kind of stuck. And you know, there's no really outdoor gigs. And then I had a cousin named Ashley, who I don't know if you're listening, but her and her mom, Linda, they're like my hybrid Cuban cousins. They're like a family friend. My mother was a nurse, and she was friends with these doctors in the hospital. They lived in Miami. So, you know, essentially, I tried going down there for Thanksgiving. I got this one gig, and I made a bunch of money at this one gig. It was a unique gig. But I realized, you know, obviously, I was like, wait a minute, I don't have to not make money for 6 months. I can go to Miami and make this a continuous 12-month hustle. And so Miami was really probably one of the greatest things I did, in the sense that it opened me up more to like the Spanish Baroque Castilian guitar, but also it enabled me to like double my income and continue playing all year. You know?
Yeah, I think that's important because musicians always have issues with like, oh my gosh, should I book enough shows or corporate gigs, or where am I going to get my next paycheck from? You know, and I think it's really awesome that you were like, I'm just going to go to Miami, just do it, bang out a bunch of gigs, and just have this consistent form of income.
Yeah. And you know, being a solo dude is great because you don't have to split the money. A lot of times my competition would be these jazz trio people, like, you know, they would charge a lot of money. I was usually 60% of the cost.
Mm-hmm.
And what I would do often, we're having an interview, so I'll just keep talking about myself, but I would go play places for free. You know, if I saw a place and I liked the vibe, I'd come up to the guy and be like, hey, let me play for an hour for free. And if you like it, you know, let me know. Just no risk sale. I'd play a little bit. And then the next week they'd bring me back and I would just keep doing that. And then I'd have like 5 or 6 gigs a week.
Yeah.
You know? But Miami enabled that because it was warm out.
Of course. And I just want to kind of circle back on what you just said about, hey, I didn't know this guy at the restaurant, but I said, hey, man, what's up? Like, let me play for an hour for free. And I think a lot of musicians don't have the balls to do that because they see gigs and they're like, somebody needs to pay me for this. But I think it's amazing that you just said, hey, I'm going to play for free. If you like me, let's continue this. If not, whatever. But they all liked you.
Yeah, sometimes. Not, they didn't all like me, but
most of them, though.
Yeah. You know, it's, you know, I try to play enjoyable music. I'm not trying, you know, I'm not at Madison Square Garden. I'm not playing, I play classical, but my main goal was just to, you know, create a fun, easygoing, enjoyable atmosphere, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I think it's because the vibe that you bring to your gigs is so fun. Like, people are smiling, they're dancing, they're like, oh my God, who is this guy? I need to know him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when I first saw your videos and I was like, he's having so much fun. Like, what is he doing?
Yeah. A lot of espresso. But well, yeah, that's the thing is again, I mean, one thing I try to tell my friends too, like anyone who's a guitar dude and wants to make a little money playing music, the Boss RC30 loop pedal device was such a game changer.
Yeah.
Because you can kind of like, you have a stream of consciousness thing going, but you're also kind of, you play to the crowd, you can play covers, you can do your own version, but you're kind of the master of your own symphony a little bit. You know what I mean? You're not, I don't know. It's different than, you know, just playing, I don't know, Jimmy Buffett tunes and, you know what I mean? I don't know. I don't want to be disparaging of anything else, but
right.
Kind of what I enjoyed about it was because I was amusing myself. You know, I play to amuse myself.
Yeah, no, I think that's important. I think you need to find what works for you and just lean into it because, yeah, you're right. Like Jimmy Buffett tunes, there's a bunch of people that play Jimmy Buffett tunes and okay, cool if that's what your thing is. But like, I think you need to lean into your thing and say like, I love this. This is fun for me. And then people who see you are like, oh my God, Matt is having so much fun. I need to be a part of that.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And it's not, I think that's one of the things that I really enjoy about playing is not necessarily demanding people's attention, but just kind of, that's the trick, is to enjoy yourself and then people will enjoy themselves, you know? That's not found what I just said, but I think you catch my drift.
I completely agree with that though, because when you're happy with what is coming out as far as music, everybody around you is like, oh my gosh, this is cool. He really loves what he's doing. Because if somebody just like was like, oh, Matt, I need you to play these songs, you'd be like, I can play them, but like, it's not my favorite.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I want to talk about what musicians inspire you.
Sweet. Yeah. I love Van Morrison.
Yeah.
I'm half Irish, so I grew up in like the Pogues and some of the Celtic mystical folklore music.
Mm-hmm.
Got very into Baroque Spanish guitar in Miami, Paco de Lucia, Carlos Santana, you know, like. I like Carlos Santana because I like how he's just a guitar player, you know, and he's very, very high voltage, You know, it's, you know, he kind of never sang. I mean, I sing a little bit, but I mainly kind of mess with the guitar and the loop pedal. I work with percussionists, but I don't know. So I guess I would say Santana, and then like classic rock. I love hip hop. I'm not like a rapper, but I've always loved like hip hop, tempo, stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw your cover of Big Pun's "Still Want to Be a Player," or the player, and I was like, "Whoa, that was awesome!" Because it was just so fun and different, and I was like, "Oh, he's a hip hop guy."
Yeah. Well, I took you know, I got into a place where I was getting gigs, and I wanted to play things that people would react to more, because I would, you know, yeah, I've been doing it for 7 or 8 years now. You get it going, and then sometimes it slows down, or the crowd gets a little more younger and intense, and you got to compete with the DJ. So I started, you know, taking like wave files from the computer of like the instrumental of a, you know, of a Big Pun, whatever.
Yeah.
Like ripping the electric guitar riff on top of it.
Yeah.
Some people, so that was kind of, that was another game changer when I realized I could kind of do like, you know, guitar reinterpretations of famous hip hop songs. That's a lot of fun, you know?
Yeah, it's really cool because then when you post those videos or you're at a gig and you play them, people are like, whoa, did he just play that? And it just kind of like, oh my God, this is pretty cool.
Yeah. You keep it, mix it up a little bit. You know, you play Beethoven, you play death metal, you play Big Pun, you know?
Hey, you got to switch it up a little bit. So who would you most collaborate with?
Say that one more time.
Who would you like to collaborate with?
I love Trinidad James. I'm actually doing a guitar thing with him at some point in Miami in the fall.
Oh, cool.
I love to play with rappers. Like I don't want to be Jay-Z. I don't have any delusions of like a fire mixtape with, you know, super, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not very good at talking, by the way. But I love the idea of being a hype guitarist for major hip hop acts in like an instrumental setting. I've done a few of those, but I'd love to do more of that, you know?
Yeah. Who have you worked with previously?
I worked with Diamond D, who was the main producer dude for the Terror Squad. What else? I opened up once. I played a show once, thanks to my buddy Tyler Core from California. I opened up for Dwight Yoakam once. But my main hip-hop collaboration has been with Diamond D and some of the offshoots artists that he works with through the Terror Squad, and this guy, Trinidad James from Atlanta, who's super great. Some people already know who he is. He's super, super, super great.
Yeah, that's cool. And when you think of a rapper, you don't necessarily think of a guitarist with him. So I like that you're kind of like bringing that element of, oh, who's that guy in the guitar? And then people are like, oh, that's Matty. Like, that's cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So let's talk about life as a musician. What do you enjoy most about it?
It is a lot of fun to make money doing what you love. It's cool going to new places, meeting new people. You know, I'm not like some big time artist, but I've had some access to some cool moments through the guitar that I don't think I ever would have been able to do. You know, it's allowed me to travel. I don't know. It's a lot of fun. It's a very exciting life, you know? Yeah.
Never a dull moment. It's not like working in finance.
Not really. No.
I mean, I know finance people and they're not really happy. They can't travel a lot. Like, they're not having as much fun as you.
Yeah. People got to do what they got to do, you know, but I know what you mean. Yeah.
Totally. So I know you do a lot of corporate gigs. What got you into wanting to do corporate gigs?
Yeah, so they pay more money. So one of the things that started happening is when I got the loop pedal thing going, I started to understand that what a lot of people want is just a vibe, right? And energy. People don't necessarily want to hear you recant Wonderwall or like pay close attention to me, man. I wrote a song, you know. People kind of want outro, this outward energy vibe. People want to be entertained, but they want to be excited. And I started getting gigs with like tequila companies, like on rooftops in Manhattan, where they would be like, basically, you know, they had like a big client base at some corporate company in Tribeca, and they wanted to show their client base who are on some monthly subscription or whatever a good time.
Right.
So they would, you know, they would hire me to be like, Matty, just bring the energy, you know, and just create like a, you know, just, you know, create this equatorial atmospheric tequila tasting rooftop experience. And that's when I realized corporate events are pretty cool because diverse and they pay very well. They usually pay like a lot for a 2-hour period. They're not that long. And they're usually during the day too. They're usually like 4 o'clock or 6 o'clock, you know?
Definitely. So I think corporate gigs are amazing because I've talked to a lot of people that are like, hey, I just bang out the corporate gigs and I make a pretty good living, whether it's a wedding or it's like an event for somebody's work. And it's kind of just you doing whatever you need to do. And right, you do get paid a lot of money for it. So for those people watching who are musicians who are looking to get into the corporate gig space, what advice would you recommend for them?
Well, specifically, try to keep it to a solo or duo act. If you're a guitarist, you should totally get a loop pedal. Be wary. Some corporate gigs are godless events where you're musical furniture and you'd rather not be playing them. But so they're not all great. But, you know, I would say get like an energetic set together with a loop pedal. Like put down like a small clip. Try to get filmed in front of other people at a rooftop and then just pitch it to like the HR department at various you know, go to like Jameson, go to like, I don't know, MetLife, go to, you know, and eventually people, I would say the people you should focus on is like HR reps and hospitality and banquet managers, people like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's really good advice. Is that how you got into it?
Yeah. Yeah, so I started, I was pretty good at marketing. Well, you know, I was pretty good at knowing where I should generally go, sending emails. And then, you know, I didn't have a job at the time. So I would just, you know, if I had nothing to do at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday, I would just go to the place, you know, like sandwich and then try to pitch the guy.
I think it's cool because you have to have the marketing aspect, right? You have to like reach out to the hospitality people or the HR people and be like, oh, here are a couple of clips. Like I'm available, like, please, when you have your next event, please consider me. And I think that's awesome that you did that.
Yeah, and you know, if you're a guy who's trying to get gigs, you should be playing for free as much as possible. Just give them an hour for free, and then they'll turn the DJ on. It's not even, it's like a no-risk sale, and it's not much of an opportunity cost. Sorry, my friend keeps texting me, even though I said do not disturb, like you instructed me. Stop texting me, Jim. Sorry.
Jim, stop it. Jim,
stop.
So I want to talk about your album that you released in July, the Miami soundtrack. So tell people who are not familiar with this album, the inspiration behind it, and give them a little context as to what the music is about.
Yeah, so, you know, I spent the last 3 or 4 years back and forth in Miami. I got a lot of gigs there. People kept asking me to, you know, how do we find your music? And I'm kind of a dum-dum. I'm a late bloomer with things.
Yeah.
And, you know, basically I said I have to put an album together. My buddy Juan, who I tell you I love him so much, Papito Juan on Instagram, he was my audio engineer and he kind of helped me get organized. He mixed everything. And then I just kind of took like my best upbeat, major scale, equatorial tracks and I just put them all together on this album. And it's been great because it's, you know, it's again, I'm a late bloomer, but I have something to pitch now and it's good. And people reach out to me about, I'm working on this one thing with National Geographic. My girl trying to help me get that place. So yeah, you know, I had to finally kind of be a little more serious about recording and not just playing gigs all the time, you know?
Yeah. And I think it's really important because like you said, when people want to hear your sound, you can show them this, but you can also say like, hey, check out my album. I just dropped it over the summer.
Yeah, and Miami it's an easy sell. The Miami soundtrack, you know? Yeah. So yeah.
Totally. So when we were speaking earlier, you actually had the opportunity to meet one of my favorite people of all time, Gary V. So I know that there's some people in this chat that love Gary like I do. So I just want to hear a little bit about how you had the opportunity to meet him and what was he like?
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, so knew this guy who on Instagram who worked there, but basically what he told me to do, which was weird, and this is a true story, he told me to just email Gary.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, whatever. I sent him an email. I said, hey, Gary, I would love to play guitar at one of your wine events. I bet you it would be like the perfect fit, right? And he actually responded.
What?
He said, yeah, this guy, Brandon Warnke, he's the director of the wine library in Springfield, New Jersey.
Yeah.
My dude, Brandon. But basically, Gary V responded to my email and just said, Brandon? ?
Oh, okay.
So then I was like, oh, hi, Brandon. And then I got to meet Brandon through Instagram. He saw some of my videos. And then, a year later, it wasn't like right away, like maybe 6 months later, he hit me up and said, hey, we're doing the wine library event at this fancy place in West Orange, New Jersey. I forgot the name of it. But that was a super sweet gig because they basically had these 2 fancy wine rooms and then people were coming through and I was kind of in the main center, just kind of ripping up the loop pedal. And, I met a lot of cool people. There were a lot of celebrities there. I'm trying to think of some people. There's a bunch of people I met there, but it was like the perfect gig. And then when I met Gary, I was like, hey, man, excuse me, my cough is horrible right now. I said, hey, man, I actually emailed you and you emailed me back. And it was a cool little Gary V affirmation moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think it's amazing because you had to email him. And like a lot of people wouldn't do that because they'd be nervous to reach out to him. But like, I love that he responded to you. That's so amazing. Yeah,
he's a cool, very affirmative. I remember when I met him, he was a very intense presence. Like he's kind of like a heavy feeling. You know what I mean? I don't know. I might not be describing it well, but yeah.
Yeah.
That was that was cool though. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's cool that like he had you placed in an area where like everybody at the event could hear you and you were kind of like the center of it. That's very cool.
Yeah. And it was a perfect example of what we're talking about of like, hey, let me play this gig, not being afraid to ask, but also kind of clarifying what you want to do. Like a lot of my advice I could give is to guitar player dudes, like if you're a guitar player dude, you really love it, get a pedal and become a solo guitarist act and play cool gigs.
Right.
I mean, it's totally possible and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. Like, even if you're not a guitarist, even if you're a pianist or you're a vocalist, maybe you don't follow all of Matty's advice, but you say, oh, I can take a couple pieces of that and apply it to what I'm doing and just kind of run with it.
Yeah. Get a loop pedal, play for free whenever you can at places you want to play, and
definitely
eventually work out,
Very cool. What's one of the most memorable moments of your career?
I played a gig in Miami once. It was like a private yacht party that I got very loosely through I played some private event and then this guy saw me and invited me to play on his yacht. And it was like a tremendous yacht. I think there might have been like some type of Russian mafia element going on the boat, but it was just this tremendous high paying gig in Miami and the sun was setting over Biscayne Bay. And it was just, I guess it was the setup of the gig where it was like an outdoor boat and I had my loop pedal and I had just met these guys and I was like new to Miami.
Yeah.
And I was just like ripping it. And it was just, I guess I had so much gratitude and joy for being in that moment that I just kind of, I think I played for like 3 or 4 hours, I took some breaks, but I just remember in that moment being very like fulfilled. Like this is, this is what I love to do,
What you love to do and what you're meant to do.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Ashley Live. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I think it's really important to be like, I feel like there's always those moments where it's like, maybe you're just looking out to the audience and you lock eyes with someone and you're like, oh my God, this is what I meant to do.
Yeah. And you got to go through a lot of crapola to get there sometimes. But yeah, you know.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So what's one of your favorite songs to perform and why?
So a lot of my stuff is like guitar, loop pedal, you know, vibe stuff, like outward. I love playing like Santana, Oye Como Va. I love some of the early 20th century Cuban stuff like the Monte Serra, like. I like that. I like the major scale. I don't like dark. I'm not big on like dark stuff. I play a little dark stuff, but I mainly like major scale, feel good, uplift people. That's kind of my thing, you know. Major scale. Do you know the difference between major and minor scale?
I do, yeah.
Right on.
I mean, I don't think I could tell you like the right answer behind it, but I know like major is more happy and upbeat, where the minor is like a little bit dark. And I don't see you as a dark performer. Like, I know you could probably play those if you needed to, but the videos that I've seen of you are all upbeat. You're like dancing around. People are like dancing around you. Like, it's awesome. It's definitely an experience.
Yeah, my buddy Bart just commented Cuba and a dark. Anyway, sorry, I just wanted to stop.
I love it. So, Matty, what kind of artists or genres have you been listening to recently?
So I do a lot of Baroque Spanish guitar, which is like, you know, which is kind of weird, but it's like 15th century guitar playing like very classical Baroque early Spanish guitar, like the lute. And to a lot of you know, I listen to a lot of classic rock and whatever, you know, like hip hop, but the Baroque Spanish guitar, and I keep my ears peeled for like some South American stuff, like you know, what's his name? Juanes, the Fabulosos Cadillacs. I just, again, just that major scale, feel good equatorial sound. So it depends, you know. Paul Simon is great for that. Paul Simon is super calypso, you know, he's super. A lot of Paul Simon's greatest music, he kind of grabbed from like the South African calypso, you know, like the, or like. So yeah.
What kind of classic rock do you like?
Yeah, I like, you know, Van Morrison. I like the Rolling Stones. I like Bob Dylan's Electric Period. All types of stuff, you know. What about you?
I love the Rolling Stones. I love Van Halen. Who else do I like rock wise? I love AC/DC.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Like, yeah, I do love classic rock. Like, when I hear it, I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is such simple music that you can sing along to, and it's feel good and it's uplifting.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So, what song do you wish you wrote and why?
Bob Dylan, When I Paint My Masterpiece. Yeah, because it just describes so many things so perfectly, you know. Yep. Probably had to take a lot of drugs and like hang out in the Spanish Steps in Spain. You had to be Bob Dylan probably to write that song, and it's just very all-encompassing. But anyway, yeah, Bob Dylan, My Masterpiece. Yeah.
So, what are your other interests and hobbies?
I love to read books about history. Book about Kim Jong-un right now, becoming Kim Jong-un. Yeah. And you know, it's been working out, just basic stuff. You know, I've recently gotten into art because I played a lot of art gallery shows. Yeah. So I'm kind of getting into museums in my old age, but what about you?
I love to work out. I love to read. I love to listen to music. Like I listen to a lot of different types of music. Like I have all these crazy Spotify playlists, but then like I'm on Instagram and TikTok and I'm like, oh, that's really cool, because I think it's like, you just never know who you could potentially be a fan of next.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a little overwhelming, but it's great too. Yeah. Yeah.
So tell us what's coming up in the next couple of months. Do you have any live shows that people can attend? Are you doing any collaborations, singles? What's happening in the next few months?
Yeah, so thanks for asking. So I had a good run with the summer. I had a lot of private events this summer because of COVID.
Yeah.
So I almost didn't have many live public performances this summer, which was kind of a bummer, but because I was catching up from all these, whatever, wedding events, charity events, whatever. A lot of wedding events. I'm actually trying to get more into, playing in Manhattan. I might be playing at the Canary Club in Manhattan.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and then what else? When I get down to Miami, I start kind of laying out my schedule. I work with some really great booking agents there, so once I kind of get set up, there's like a 90-day period where I'll kind of like get my thing together, and then posting it more actively. I've just been a little busy this summer, whatever, with gigs. So, but wherever I can get a great gig that's easy for people to get to. I love playing Thursday evenings because the spirits are usually really great on Thursdays and Saturdays. That's another thing I've noticed as a musician. My favorite nights are always Thursday or Saturday.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, stuff like that.
Why not Friday, though?
Well, yeah, Friday could be great, don't get me wrong, but I feel oftentimes that, at least in the New York City area, I feel like people party on Thursday night and they're dehydrated on Friday and they're tired the fifth day of work, whereas Thursday they've been going to the gym and like eating right and they're ready to go, and a lot of people, whatever, work from home now or they have summer Fridays, but I've noticed Thursday nights in the New York City area is a very energized night. That's what I've noticed. In Miami, it doesn't matter. In Miami, it seems like people are energized most days of the week. But yeah.
I definitely know what you mean about Thursday nights in New York City, though, because Thursday night is the night to go out. And you're right. Sometimes people go out Friday, too, but then Friday you're like, do I really want to go out 2 nights in a row? And it's kind of one of those things like, do I do it or do I just stay home?
Yourself for Saturday. You go out Thursday and you go out Saturday, right?
Exactly. So for all the beautiful people watching right now, Matty, how can they support you as a musician? Like, tell the beautiful people in here what that they can do to support you in your musical journey.
Yeah, and by the way, my cousin Ashley just joined, who I mentioned to you. Her and her mom gave me the place in Miami, which hooked me up.
Oh, yeah.
Ashley. All they got to do is, when I get a gig, come check it out. And then when you type in on Spotify or iTunes, type in MattyDMusic, all one word.
Yeah.
Because I had to move away from the Matty D thing. It's like a Jersey Shore DJ thing. I had to rebrand it a little bit, and also it's not distinct on Spotify. So just check me out whenever you can. MattyDMusic, all one word. MattyD Music. Spotify, iTunes, and come to the gigs, man. Check out the music. I don't want any money from you. I'd love to be people listening to it when they're doing their thing, working out, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so if you don't already, please go on Spotify and stream the music. And if he posts gigs, if you're in the Miami, New York area, please go sure to check out Matty. So, and it's really funny what you said about Jersey Shore, because it was like Pauly D, Matty D, and I was like, oh my God, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I hate it. I might even change my name entirely to like Matteo De Santis or something. I don't know. I do it sometimes. That might be too dramatic, though. What do you think? Too dramatic?
So, what does success mean to you?
Success means I'm playing great gigs, making good money, and consistently playing cooler and cooler gigs. And, getting things done, recording, expanding opportunities, and just doing what you love to do and making a buck doing it, Yeah, that's for me, yeah.
Definitely. So what's the best advice you've ever been given?
Be yourself. Do what you love, but be yourself. And again, that's the thing I tell you with the loop pedal is just, I think a lot of guitar dudes get stuck in bands, or they become recording hands in a studio and they're not really doing their own thing. Some people don't want to play gigs live or whatever, but to me, it would just be like, do what you really love to do, get a loop pedal and get out there as much as you can, because it changed my life. I'm not trying to be all like lifetime movie of the week or whatever, but the loop pedal was a game changer. I don't even know if I'd still be playing music if I didn't discover the loop pedal. So.
Yeah. And I think it's cool how how it revolutionized what you were doing as far as music, and it made it fun for you, and you're like, oh, I don't need these other guys.
Yeah, and you could still bring other guys on, but you're not relying on other people. You get to be the your own symphony, and if someone books you for a gig, you could just say yes. You don't have to check with other people.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So guys, if you're a guitarist, please make sure to look into the loop pedal, because then you can do your own things and not rely on other people. Because you're right. If someone called you right now and said, hey, I need you to do this gig for me, 2 weeks from now, you could just be like, let me check my schedule. But if you had to double check with 3 other people and you're like, oh, hold on a second, I got to call my drummer and I need to call like my bassist, I need to call this person. It's like you're waiting on other people when you're like, I just want to do it all myself.
Right.
So that's all the questions I have for you this evening, but don't go anywhere, guys, because Matty's going to play for us.
Yes. I'm going to play the Bob Dylan song that you asked me which song I wish I wrote.
Cool.
And then I'll play like a snippet of an original, all right? Very romantic, Ashley. Down the ocean avenue, I found a love I never knew. And as the day turns into night, there'll be a Mona Lisa in my room. Mona Lisa in my room. The Mona Lisa in my room. All right. I'm just getting over a cold, by the way. Sorry about that.
If you don't want to sing, you don't have to. You can just solely just rip it up if that's what you want to do.
Yeah, I have a terrible cold, if you know what I mean, Ashley.
I know. No, I know what you mean. It's totally up to you. Like I said earlier, you can sing. You don't have to sing. You can just totally rock it on the guitar, whatever you're into.
Yeah, let's sing the Bob Dylan, and then we'll rock out, and then we'll take it from there. Ready?
Beautiful.
Oh, the streets of Rome are filled with rubble. The ancient footprints are everywhere. You could almost think that you're seeing double. You're on the cold, dark night on the Spanish Steps. Got to hurry on back to my hotel room, where I've got me a date with Botticelli's niece. Yup, she promised that she'd be right there with me when I paint my masterpiece. All right.
Awesome.
Oh, God. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Awesome. Do you have another one, or is that it?
I could do a little ditty for you, whatever. You can do like, I'll play with my credit card because I can't find a pick. So this is like the minor scale, right?
I love it. And I love that you're playing with your credit card. That is amazing.
Probably not good for the chip or whatever, but yes.
I love it. So guys, this is the part of the show where if you have any questions for Matty, please feel free to put them in the comments section below.
Bart Walsh says I'm a musical genius. I love my buddy Bart Walsh.
Nice. So I guess because you go to Miami a lot, do you have any spots that you enjoy playing down there?
Yeah, the Good Time Hotel. I play at Nikki Beach a little bit.
Okay.
Been to Nikki Beach?
I haven't. I've heard amazing things though.
Yeah, it's like an international resort thing. They got like a gigantic, acres of beach in South Beach. The address is 1 Ocean Drive.
Yeah.
The 1 Hotel rooftop. Trying to think where else. Gosh, my brain is moving very slow. I've been sick for 2 weeks and my brain is not functional. But the Nikki Beach, the Good Time Hotel, the Anderson Bar. There's a ton of places in Miami. There's so many cool outdoor spots.
Yeah. That's the cool thing about is like New York only has a couple outdoor spots, where Miami it's all outdoor spots, and it's beautiful down there.
Yeah, the summer might be better here, but yeah, I agree with you. I totally agree with you.
So where do you see your career in the next 5 years?
Yeah, my goal is to keep playing gigs, to not become overweight in my older age, and to not be sick right now. But and to just keep playing events, keep my Miami, New York thing going. I want to go a little international. I want to start playing in Europe. I haven't really done too much of that. And, you know, just keep it going. Like, keep making money, keep recording. I don't want to over attach importance to external validation, you know, or whatever the Tao Te Ching says. I just want to keep gigging, keep having fun, keep making money, keep doing whatever, you know?
Totally. And I can definitely see international gigs in your future, because I feel like people internationally would love it. Like I could see you like in a restaurant in Greece, like on the water. I could see that for you.
Yeah. Or yeah, that would be cool. That would be sweet.
Awesome. So everyone wants to know, when are you coming to Morristown?
Ashley, that's my cousin. Soon enough. Soon as a couple days, maybe next week I'll come. That's the cousin I told you about, by the way. I love my cousin Ashley and her mom Linda. Yup.
And Niven says, we miss you, Matty D.
I love her too.
Renee and Susan. I think you mentioned them earlier, yeah?
Yeah, so yeah. They're kind of the zenith. They're kind of helped me with the whole Miami discovery. Her and Renee and yeah.
Yeah. So that is so awesome. Oh, it says mom is watching. That's so cute. I love that.
That's sweet. That's sweet. Hi, Linda. She's my basically my aunt, my second mom when I live in Miami.
Oh, I love that.
Very emotional.
Uh-huh.
I'm very emotional.
Yeah. So, Matty, do you have any final words for the room?
No, thanks for doing this, Ashley. I love what you do. And, you know, just type in MattyDMusic, all one word.
Yeah.
You know, I hope the world continues to normalize and I'll keep playing gigs. I'd love to play events. I'm always open for any type of charitable event.
Yeah.
So if things come about, let me know. But, just keep everything keep going. And I'm glad we could do this together. And I'm glad I still have all these great people in my life. And that's about it.
Yes. Matty, I just want to say thank you so much for spending your evening with us. Guys, if you have any events coming up or somebody you know needs music for one of their events, please feel free to reach out to Matty, because he is always down to gig, whether it's a corporate event, whether it's at a bar. Like, he wants to bring the energy and make you guys happy. And please make sure to follow him if you don't already. Stream the album. It's on Spotify. And what else is coming up in the next couple months that we can tease?
Yeah, just check out Spotify, iTunes, MattyDMusic, all one word. I'm going to do a volume 2 to the album in the winter when I'm down there. So, yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So is that going to be out before the end of the year?
Yeah, well, maybe early January. The Miami Sound volume 2.
Volume 2, guys. It's coming.
Yeah.
Coming this winter. So, Matty, I just want to say thank you so much for spending your evening with us. Thank you guys for joining the conversation. Like I said already, if you don't already, please make sure to follow Matty D. And if you love this conversation and you love good music, please make sure to follow me. I'm Ashley Live. This is Vibin with Ashley Live. And support good music and stay safe.
Thank you, Ashley.
Thanks. Have a great night.
All right, bye, guys.